G'day traders, Mindset Reset today, talking about what defines a successful trader. Great question from a trader. Could you talk about what it's like to be successful as a trader? And that's a really tough question because the first point that I would address with that is I've never felt like my goals that I've set for myself, I've yet to even come close to achieving those. My first objective is freedom. Freedom from myself, from my family, from being tied to something that I'd spent 20 years at. Everybody's programming, their beliefs, what they define as a success is individualized. I had a trader ask me, is $300 a day enough? I can't answer that. I have no idea what your expenses are, what your lifestyle is, what your current financial situation is. It's not for me to advise you on that. I met a trader when I was in Adelaide who needed to make $5,000 a day to maintain his and his family's lifestyle. I know a trader in the US, his average week is 75 to 100K a week. That's the level that he's at. He's in late 20s, started at nothing. He worked at Starbucks, making $200 a week. Got dumped by his girlfriend, and that's what got him into trading. It took him probably 8-9 years to get to where he's at. He's on track for anything between $3 and $6 million this year. I know other traders who their goal is to make $250 a day. And so again, I talk about the focus of versus, mastering the skill versus making the money. And my objective, I'm constantly refining, because if you go and find your best trade setups, there's 2 or 3 setups that I define as my 99.9 percentile trade setups. And I know that traders say it's 50-50, but there are certain setups where the possibilities are definitely so heavily skewed. And those are the ones that I'm constantly only looking to trade. Now, there's days when I go back, I review every single instrument. There's probably 15 instruments I review every single day, every single session. Just quickly skim through to see, was there a better trade somewhere? And there's days that I get tunnel visioned on gold, or I get tunnel vision on NASDAQ or oil, and I miss out on some really great trades on other pairs that were probably easier. Not to say that ones didn't play out on gold or NASDAQ or something, but there are ones on some of the major pairs over the 3-day cycle, the 5-day week, the template, where there's been some absolutely capitulations. One today, great trade on some of the young crosses Friday, and trader sent me his screenshots on the pound yen. Just perfect trade. And it's Friday. There's always a perfect trade setup, so I'm always refining how can I find the best setup each session, and I'm not always going to get that. And as I've talked about, some days I'm just happy to take an easy squeeze or a stop hunt or a capitulation type move and just be done. And sometimes that happens just pre-market, because I'm looking for easy stuff. I do not want stressful trades. I don't want to try and pick tops and bottoms. I've talked about there's a difference between trying to pick a top and bottom and nailing a reversal setup. Previous days highs and lows are great examples of that. So in terms of what's a success, well, my financial objectives for myself, for my family, I've set some pretty lofty goals for myself. Part of that's my own upbringing, how I was raised, the environment that I grew up in. I grew up in a family company, business-oriented environment. I worked in the health profession for 20 years. I've been around incomes that are perceived to be high, above average. So comparing that to one of the attractions of trading was that I felt that was setting a limit on myself income-wise. So my goals, my objectives are probably different than everybody else's, and everybody's again got lofty ambitions. That's what attracts them to trading. And so in order to meet those goals and to ensure that I don't engage in self-sabotaging impulsive behavior, I'm constantly filtering out things that will interfere with me achieving that. So again, I talk about all the things that I constantly am working on with myself to get off the screen, taking scalable trade setups, and then refining those scalable trade setups. We talked about trading process the other day. I'll expand upon that, because I'm constantly only looking for one really great trade each session or once or twice a day where, again, the odds are stacked in my favor. And people can say, well, you're looking for the holy grail. That's right, I am. But I'm refining and constantly peeling back the onion on myself, because I'm the biggest variable. And then also, how can I filter out the best setups? And it's hard because there's a lot of variables that will, I suppose, show up in different setups. And so again, I'm only looking for one or two great trades. And sometimes if they're not there, also understanding that I can walk away. So what defines a success for me? My first thing is freedom. Obviously, the second part is income, and then scaling that income up and not setting limits on yourself, whether that's in the market, in your own personal objectives, your goals. My goal is to constantly be improving myself, to be a role model, not only for my children, for my family, but in real life. If you meet me in person, you'll find out that I'm the same person that I am on the screen. There's no hidden agenda. My routines, everything are the same every day. It is what it is. So hopefully you got value from today's video, traders. Don't set limits on yourself. Constantly set the bar higher to achieve your objectives in the markets and as a trader and as a person. Have a great weekend and enjoy. And next week's going to be even better. Have a great weekend.